I'm Brittney Saunders and welcome to Big Business, the place where business is far from boring. And today we are recording on a Wobbical land. Now, I somehow managed to build an empire from the garage underneath my house, and I'm here to share it all with you, from the wins, the mistakes, the challenging times, and the funny moments in between. So whether you're in business already, perhaps you're not in the game at all, maybe you're looking for some inspo, or you simply just want to hear the tea, this is the podcast for you. Coming up on today's episode, I'm joined by Grace from Fayt. This is my first ever official guest episode with someone from the Fayt team. I think April's sprinkled in a few episodes, but this is our first proper official guest episode. Grace is our head of retail nationally at Fayt, and she has been with us for over 4 years, and I thought she would be great to bring on because her story is so inspiring, not only for other business owners, but also for other team members out there who are wanting to build an amazing career for themselves. So without further ado, Grace, welcome to Big Business.
Thanks for having me.
How are you feeling being on Big Business, Grace?
I'm so nervous.
You're such a great talker.
I am when I'm in the moment, I guess.
And here you are in the moment.
Yeah, that's true. I'm a nervous person though, so
you
when I'm
so
feeling
are
it,
not. I'll tell you what.
When I know what I'm going to say, that's when I'm like, yep, okay, I can say it without hesitation. But I guess when I speak about me, I get really nervous.
Oh, well, we're really throwing you in the deep end today because today we are literally talking all about you. And this is your first podcast ever, right?
Yes. I've never seen a studio before. This is cool.
Yeah, welcome. And you can add it to your list of skills now as you're a podcaster. Yeah. Well, let's go back to the very beginning. Mm-hmm. I feel like I love telling the story of you coming on board at Fayt, but I feel like it's better for you to kind of tell the story.
Yeah, I feel like I can say it in my way and then Britt's got a way of saying it.
Okay, so how did you come into Fayt and what was your first role and how did it all look from the beginning?
Well, we were in the middle of lockdown in COVID times and I had heard that Britt was needing someone in the store for when it reopened.
Because, the store was shut, right? Like, this was in COVID. We only had the one store in Newcastle, like, downstairs, and our office was upstairs, and it was shut.
Yeah.
But we were looking at hiring someone.
Yeah, and I didn't know a lot about the brand. I actually didn't know a lot about Britt. I know a lot of people come in and they've known about you for so long, but I didn't really grow up watching YouTube or anything like that, so I didn't.
Because you're a country girl. You're from Tamworth.
But, yeah, no, I didn't grow up watching Britt or anything like that. So I had just heard of her and I heard of the business as well, mainly the business.
And you were working in retail at the time as well.
Yeah. So I've had a lot of retail experience as it was. And I think it was in a time where I just felt like I wanted to be in an environment where I could thrive and that I related to as well.
Yep.
So, I kind of just sent off my resume to Britt's email. They didn't have an ad up or anything, and one of the girls in the team already knew me. I think you might have asked them, like, who's this girl?
Yeah, I think I did.
Which made it a little bit more nerve-wracking, I think, for me to feel like I had to kind of prove that I was a reliable person. It's always hard to take the word of someone else, I think.
Yeah.
So I felt like I really wanted to just hustle and show you that I was serious.
I still remember the day that I interviewed you, and it's funny because by the time this comes out, I don't know when it was, but I did a whole episode recently on our whole hiring process at Fayt, and I talked about the way that we hire now, how it's very thorough, and I reflected on how I used to hire back in the day, and you're an example of someone that I had one Google meeting with or Zoom call or whatever it was, and I hired you.
Yeah.
Like just straight up. And lucky.
I know. You were like, do you want to just come in? It was very casual, but I think back then it just had to be because we were in the middle of COVID.
Yeah.
So I don't think a lot of people were hiring.
And Fayt was so small back then too. Like there was just a few of us. So I did the one call with you. I remember it. I was sitting on the lounge downstairs, probably in like my trackies, and we had the most informal interview ever.
Yeah.
And I was like,
I was still just as nervous as I am today. Like I was, just crapping myself. I was like, oh.
I think you were sitting outside.
I was.
Yeah,
I was.
You were sitting
and then a car drove past and I couldn't hear you and I was like, sorry. But it was a really casual time, I think, back then. So I did actually feel like I got my foot in the door in a good time and a lucky time as well. I just came in and I spent about a month working in the store and, helping when we had our warehouse out the back. I was helping a little bit there.
You were just doing all-rounder sort of stuff.
Yeah, because there wasn't, a lot that I could do, but I could prep the store in, preparation for opening, and I could get the stock ready, understanding online and how that works.
Because we had everything in the one building back then. Like we were packing orders out the back, doing stuff upstairs in the office.
And we were getting all of our deliveries to Downey as well, where we are. So I got to see the whole process, I guess.
Yeah.
And it was, just 2 of them in the warehouse and I think like maybe 5 of you upstairs.
Yeah, it was tiny. And Grace came on board as just like a casual retail employee, and one thing that I so vividly remember, and we laugh about it even still to this day, is I'm the kind of person where if you tell me something once, I will never forget it. Like I'm good with remembering when people tell me things or if they have a request. And so pretty quickly, when you came on board, you might have been doing like 3 to 4 shifts a week or something. Yeah. And I remember you saying like, I'd really love the opportunity to be full-time one day. And I'm like, absolutely. But, Fayt is so small. Like the shop wasn't even open 7 days a week back then. Like we were doing everything really small. Yeah. And like no one had ever worked full-time in the shop because it was just like a few casuals and all of us girls upstairs helping out. And I was like, absolutely, Grace. Like leave that with me and I will make that happen for you. Like I'll give you that full-time role. And then like once a week she'd come to me and be like, hey, I just wanted to check that you haven't forgot that I would like to work full-time. And I'm like, no, Grace, I haven't forgot. I'll make it happen.
I'm like annoyed at myself just hearing it. I would be so annoyed. I'd be like, just shut up,
But she asked and asked and asked, and then you landed yourself the full-time role.
Yeah.
And did we put you into store manager then?
Yeah, so I kind of just formed into store manager. I think it was, you told me that you didn't really have that role.
We'd never had a manager because it was so casual.
Yeah, because everyone would just come in and you'd only really need one person to run the whole day, if I'm honest.
We were really quiet back then too, so we just didn't need that structure back then. But Grace kind of built the store into needing that role.
And obviously having more people join the team, we always kind of stuck with the same amount of people, but just I guess the more the business grew, the more the shop grew, I guess.
Exactly.
I got to know a lot of great customers and it was
You were really there for the beginning of Fayt Newcastle. And then your career progressing into what it is now. Obviously, you got the full-time role and you were running the Newcastle store full-time whilst you were like helping pack orders and helping with random bits and bobs, which I think was really great for you in those early...
Well, that's, I think, another thing that I pushed with. I think when I would always say, just in case you have forgotten or something like that, I think in my brain, because we had moved, I forgot to mention that we'd moved from that time, so we got our own warehouse and I stayed in the shop. So I just felt like a little bit of, and it was my own feeling, like I felt separation there and I didn't see you as often. So I was like, I'm not able to tell her that I want to be here, I want to do more, I want to be here all the time.
But you did let me know. Yeah. And I remember... it was around this time as well that we had Chap, our general manager, start in the business, and she came in and brought that structure that we never had before.
Yes.
So then we started doing, our performance reviews and everything so that we actually had some structure. And again, Grace began expressing to me that she would like to grow in the company. Yep. And I remember... this was years ago, you were saying, I don't know what it is that I want to do. Because you're young.
Yep.
And I was like, absolutely, we can make something for you. And even I said to you back then, I don't know what it is, but I can tell you, you're going to have something.
Yeah.
And then to fast forward a little bit, I guess, you were doing everything in our new store. You were helping out at the new warehouse when we moved. And then... out of nowhere, our Miranda store idea came about.
I don't even remember how that came about.
It was really quick.
I feel like we blinked and it was there.
It was really quick. And I remember saying to Grace, all right, Grace, this is your opportunity. And I just booted you down to the Miranda store. And I said, go do what you do in Newcastle, down in Miranda, and this is your new role. And so you became I guess the New South Wales or area manager for Fayt.
I think area manager back then. It was so scary. She really did just say, go.
Go for it. But I knew you had it in you.
Yeah, and I think once I got there and I saw this, I helped with setup and everything like that, but I didn't have this role when we set the store up and the team started. It was kind of just like 2 stores, 2 managers.
Yep.
But when I got there, I saw where I could make it similar to our store and what works in our store that could be the same, and just a lot of structure and organisation that helped me make the Newcastle store a lot more, organised. And
I think it was good as well when we did Miranda, because then we learnt so much doing that, and then we levelled up Newcastle as well. Because Newcastle store was always so casual and la-di-da, just our little newie shop.
Yeah.
But then we learnt a lot from opening Miranda, which then made Newcastle an even better store.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And then fast forward a few more years down the track, you then obviously continued to grow in your role with us. And then we did, Chermside, and then we did Hawthorn, and then we did Parramatta.
Yeah.
And so what is your role looking like today?
Well, now it's National Retail Manager, which is crazy. It took me ages to start saying that. And I manage all 5 of them. The difference, I guess, now is just the volume of personalities and different people that we have in our company, and, always just being that person that can control how their experience is in store. It can feel like I could get a little bit anxious about it sometimes, I guess, being responsible for someone's experience in a job, because I am that person that they go to for anything really, especially the managers, obviously, and, if needed, a lot of our other team members, our casual team members too. And I guess I feel a lot more responsibility now, and I guess in turn that's caused me to grow, because I don't ever want to be in a position where maybe I can't handle it, and then the other people in the team, I guess, are like, who do I go to now?
You're the go-to girl.
Yeah.
For everybody.
Yeah. So I think that's, I guess, growing has then caused me to grow in myself as well and be more confident. It's just confidence as well, coming in things more confidently.
I think your growth, from my perspective, has been absolutely amazing. And I'll tell you what's funny. We're doing your review this afternoon.
I know.
But I feel like this is your review now in the podcast. It's actually so crazy because, when I think back to Grace when she first started at Fayt, you were so different. You've obviously been here for over 4 years, and you were a lot younger back then and less experienced.
Yep.
But comparing you back then to you now, some of the shit that I see you do, the things that you call me about and tell me that you've done, I'm like, who is this woman? Because
it's hard for me to see that. I feel like I think I've eventually just become a lot more confident now, and I forget how I used to be.
Oh,
until you guys tell me.
Yeah.
And you're like, remember when you couldn't get on a flight?
Yes, you were too scared to get on a flight to go to a store.
Yeah.
And now you're out here doing the absolute most. So it's so awesome and amazing. I talk about this all the time on the pod, but I love doing business for me, and, I get a lot of satisfaction out of all the things I do, but I also get maybe even more satisfaction out of seeing people like you, and watching you grow within the company. How would you say that your leadership style has evolved as you've gone from kind of starting as a casual and then managing one store very casually to now overseeing 5 whole stores? How would you say that your management and leadership style has changed?
I think I've become a lot more grounded and a lot more professional. That was a very hard area for me because I'm such a bubbly, very touchy and very upbeat person, and I always shared too much about myself. But then I had to learn to set boundaries. That was definitely something that I have done in the duration of my role. Knowing when to maybe not mention this certain thing about me, or just learning when, the conversation might be getting too personal, or not asking questions that I would usually ask because I don't want to cross any boundaries between a manager and a friend as well.
Yeah.
But I still, to this day, is so important to me that I still show the team my, personal side.
Yeah.
Because
I feel it's just a line that we have to draw, isn't it? Because you don't want to ever come across as oh shit, Grace is coming in.
Yeah, and I would never want them to think that I'm scary, or I would never want anyone to feel like they can't talk to me. That's a huge thing that I've had to learn, is just to set a boundary where, everyone sees me as the National Retail Manager. But I also have to be someone who's approachable too,
Yeah.
because, you need more than one person to approach in situations.
Yeah.
And they need to know that I'm here, to help. But then in that same breath, I also have to, set boundaries and, be strict if I need to be.
Yeah. And I think that's a hard thing as well, like us being a female dominant company where everyone is similar ages as well. And I think we've seen it a lot over the years, is so many friendships forming.
Yes.
And it is like
Yeah.
when we're all like literally, well, I'm not in my 20s anymore. But, when everyone's in their 20s or early 30s, you just naturally all get along,
Yeah,
because
absolutely.
you're so...
I love everyone in our team.
And then you want to hang out and you want to,
absolutely.
let's go out for drinks. But then you've got to be especially as your career is evolving, you've got to learn to draw the line in the sand.
Exactly. We had all of our managers visit us earlier in the year for the managers conference, and I would have loved nothing more than to just take them out and, hang out with them and have a drink. But, I had to set those boundaries and say, cool, this is the night that you guys can bond, because if I'm there, there's going to be some kind of, form of work. I'm the boss type thing. But I would have loved nothing more than to go for a walk with
karaoke.
them. And we have a great team, and I get along with them all so well. But I guess that's where I have to remember my role and make sure that I'm always having that boundary there as well.
Absolutely. What would you say? What's something about the way that you work that you think has helped you stand out?
I think I've always just stuck true to myself, but I definitely am the type of person that wants to help. So if I see anywhere that I feel like I can help without overstepping, because there's also a line that you have to remember that, you can't just go and do something because someone might be the manager of that and, maybe they haven't got around to it yet and you've just gone and done it and gone over their head. So, I've always just communication, definitely. I don't stop talking. And I think that I always want everyone to know what's going on. That's the biggest thing for me. And I feel like that's always done well because, the more informed you feel, the more valued you feel and that you're involved.
I would say it's definitely, your communication and your willingness to help.
Yeah.
I think that might be a thing that a lot of people overlook in a workplace. And again, I can only speak from owning Fayt, and it might be completely different if someone's in another bigger business where if you are going above and beyond, no one's going to notice or care.
Yes.
Whereas we're very different because we're a big company now, but we're still all small and working together.
Yeah.
But I would say the one thing that has definitely made you stand out and has gotten you to where you are today is that willingness to help, even if it's not your responsibility. Just having that team spirit and willingness to go, I'll jump in and help out. Or if the warehouse are really busy and it's do you need a helper? The amount of times you've helped in the warehouse, it would be...
I love returns.
You actually do, don't you?
I love them because I started doing them. When I first was in the store and I was helping in the warehouse, I would be so excited to get returns. We'd get half the amount, a quarter of the amount that we get now.
Yeah.
But it was my favorite job, and I think when I see them I am very blessed to be able to work from different locations as well. So I have the opportunity to go over to the warehouse and work over there. And if I walk past and I see returns, up to the brim, of course I want to be you guys need some help because, I have a job that's very computer-based and very, on the phone, on the computer.
Your phone dings more than mine.
She goes off a lot. Of course, I want to be able to help because I always like to compare. I know it's not always a great thing to compare, but, compared to if I'm doing something right now that can wait and I have the luxury of doing it tomorrow in the office, then of course I want to help the warehouse team get those returns out because then in turn they're going to be stressed and no one wants to see their co-workers stressed at all. And if I know how to do it, why not?
Yeah, I think that's definitely something that a lot of people could take away. It's one thing to be in a company and to want to grow and to express that like you have, over the years saying, I want to grow, I want to grow, I want to grow. And I'm absolutely, I'm always going to remember you saying that to me, but then also showing that initiative.
Yeah,
that
you have to prove it.
You've got it in you that you're helpful across so many more areas in the business. And that's something that we've obviously noticed about you over the years. Yeah. So great job on your initiative,
Thank
Grace.
You. I think the biggest thing that I always try and tell myself is make yourself valuable.
Ooh, That's your tip of the week, is it?
Yeah.
Based on your experience in Fayt, what would you say are some of the things that other businesses, I guess, could take a page out of our book, if anything?
I think the freedom that we give our employees, I know that they're coming from bigger companies, which I have been involved in. It's always a big scary thing, I guess, when, your regional or your national manager comes and visits. But when I come to visit the stores, I want it to be a really positive experience where I can see how much they've done, because I do feel like in workplaces, it's easy to focus on the negatives, but then you end up forgetting about how much they've actually done, for your store or for your company. So, for example, our retail stores get multiple positive reviews daily, and I go in there and to our reviews and I read them myself, because it's important to know exactly what our team are doing to create that experience. And it's important for them to know that we appreciate that,
Yes.
which I think a lot of people, again, like when their upper management come and visit, it's always focusing on negatives.
You haven't done this and you haven't done that, and why isn't the stock take done?
Yep, exactly.
And I have friends that have worked in or are still working in retail as well, and some of the stories that they tell me about just the way that their stores run, I'm like, this is backwards.
I had one of our girls, I don't know if you can include this, but I had one of our girls tell me that at her old workplace, her regional threw something at her out of anger. And I was like, what?
Yeah, one of my friends who doesn't work in retail anymore, they were saying, I think they were in a role similar to you, and just even how strict their rostering was when it comes to how many staff are working on a day, and they were doing stock take and whatever, and they weren't allowed to roster an extra person on to help on the floor while they did the stock take. Just all little things like that that I hear where I'm like, we would never do that at Fayt.
Yeah.
If we had a big stock take on, we would definitely put that extra person on to help out. But some other businesses are so strict.
Yeah.
With their budgets and costs, and no, we can't have that extra person on to cover the floor while you do the stock take.
Yeah.
It's just we would never do that at Fayt.
Yeah. And as we grow as well, there are things that we always have to look out for. I still to this day approve the rosters before they go out to look out for certain things, but I'll always say to the girls, how do you feel about having that extra person on? Do you feel like you need it at the moment? And they might say, oh, this day I'm planning a stock take. Oh, perfect. That's fine. So it's just about communication, but I guess that's what a lot of other companies might lack, is that communication with their store managers every day or the head of the certain sections in their company. They miss that one-on-one communication where it's explained, and you have to keep it mutual and respectful. So I talk to the girls every week.
All day, every day.
Yeah.
All day, every day.
I love talking to them. They are my job. They make my job. So having them, I always say to them, the more communication, the better. I need to know about everything.
And I think it's one of the good things that we, I guess, have been able to build out our stores the way that we have. We started that communication at the beginning, and then we've carried it through every store. Whereas a lot of your big retailers out there now, your massive companies, they've been around for so long and they're so big that they can't start at the bottom and fix that communication.
Yeah.
And that's why it all feels so disjointed and broken, and that's why they don't know the national retail manager. They only know them as someone that comes in and yells at them. And they shit themselves when they're coming in. Whereas I feel like we've been really fortunate to be able to build our stores the way that we have and create such a positive experience.
Yeah, exactly. They might have come from companies where they're not used to talking this much and they're not used to keeping this person in the loop all the time. So I'm always trying to remind everyone to just keep me in the loop, let me know if this happens, or the slightest thing, let me know, because then it really helps me to keep that in mind if it happens at another store. The more communication, the better, and all of them are amazing at it.
Communication is key.
Yes.
If you could go back and give your younger self, Grace that started in the Newcastle store, one piece of advice from day one at Fayt, what would it be?
I would tell her that not everything is about you.
Oh! Can you give me any examples of what you mean by that?
I think when decisions are made, or the time frame of things, like you said, when I was, getting like, can I be pulled, blah, blah, blah. I wasn't considering you and what was happening in the company and what you do on a day-to-day basis. I was thinking about myself.
Which is fair enough.
Yeah, which
like,
is so
everyone's
fair.
thinking of themselves. But I feel like that's a really mature thought for you to have.
Yeah, well, you have to, what I've learned over these years is that you have to take accountability and for yourself as well as your actions as well. So, and you need to also consider other people's perspective. So I think it's all about perspective and also just taking accountability when you might have not done something in the best way that you could. That's definitely a huge thing I've learned, and I'm very proud to say it because I know it. I would think about myself all the time and I would think, oh, but I need more shifts and I need money for this, and I wasn't considering how busy you were back then and, you know, the time frame of, you can't just snap your fingers and make a job for me like that because the company's not ready yet.
And I'll be like, okay, Grace, just leave it with me.
Yeah.
And then I'll get there.
Yeah, if I got upset about that, like, why would I be upset with you? You know, you own a business and it's not ready yet.
Yeah.
We're not at that point yet, but you know that I'm here and you know my intentions. So then it's up to me to be patient.
Yeah.
And just keep doing what I'm doing and not let that affect my work performance if I'm not at the place where I want to be right now.
Yep.
So, yeah, it's definitely perspective, and don't always think that everything is about you. And, you know, I wouldn't think, oh, she didn't give me that job at the time because she didn't like me.
Yeah. I feel like it is easy to think that way as well. Like, especially when you're like young and impressionable.
Yeah.
You know, and if you want something and you're asking for it and it doesn't happen, like it can feel like personal.
Yes. Yeah.
But yeah, I think that's really great that you can reflect on that because I always say like nothing in business is personal.
Yeah, you have to. I mean, you can't go about life just always thinking that you're right and, you know, thinking that something didn't happen because you asked and you got the answer no.
Yeah.
Sometimes it's patience and, you know, maybe you've got to work a bit harder. But yeah, I think that's definitely something that I would tell my younger self.
I love that.
Thanks.
Is there anything that you've learned from me as a boss that has stuck with you?
Oh, yeah, you know this one.
What is it? What is it?
Tough conversations equals easy life.
Yeah, I love that.
Yeah. Sometimes you just got to have a tough conversation, but at the end of the day, it works out for the better. And like I said before, everyone's, you know, no one's going to know anything unless you talk to them about it. So, and whether sometimes those conversations are a bit tougher than a normal conversation that you would have with someone.
You're only going to
just
grow.
gotta do it.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you're only going to grow. Like
Yep.
we've been through so many crazy scenarios together over
Yep.
the years, and we've dealt with some situations that, reflecting on them, we would be like, what the fuck was
Yeah.
that? You know?
Yeah. But you've just got to believe in yourself and know your intention at the end of the day. And I know my intention is always pure, and so is yours for a company. You know, we're doing it for the company. So sometimes you do have to deliver it in a tougher way because everyone takes communication differently as well. That's something huge that I've learned, is that everyone communicates differently and people can take things in a certain way that you might not have intended it to. So
Absolutely. I
just
think
trying to work together on how you communicate with the other person.
I think that's also another one of your biggest lessons that I've seen you learn over the years. And I think from that, I've also learned that from you and us together, is it's one thing to like be a store manager, let's say, but it's so easy to be like, I'm a manager and this is my management style.
Yep.
But then like if you're managing a whole team of people, you can't manage all those people exactly the same.
Yeah.
And I think it takes a long time to understand that and then to realize, hang on, like, yeah, I've got a team of 7, let's say, but then this person prefers me to communicate in this way. But it doesn't mean that I can then do that with person 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.
Yep.
You've got to like learn everyone's traits and
Yep.
likes and dislikes and apply yourself as a manager almost
Yep.
individually to every person.
Yeah, that is exactly it. And you'll never actually be able to perfect that because people's communication changes all the time. But the more you put in the effort and you try and see things from other point of views, or you try and communicate the way that someone else would rather you to. For example, someone could really appreciate just being told flat out, you're doing a bad job or you've done this wrong. I, in my nature, physically cannot do that. I struggle a lot. Like I always go a roundabout way. But sometimes I do need to be a straight shooter and say, yep, because the other the person that I'm saying it to might appreciate that more, which I can understand why they would appreciate that more.
Because it's just straight to the point.
Yeah, if I put myself in their shoes and I'm hearing this person say, oh, look, this could have been better, but you did this, blah, 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 and try and roundabout it, I guess, without actually saying what it was
just
that you
fucking
did.
tell me.
And that's something that I'm always working on. I won't ever be able to perfect that, but that's something I'm always working on, that I can definitely be more of a straight shooter and not try and roundabout my communication too much. You know, I talk a lot. I always do.
We love it. If you can answer this question to wrap up, what is your dream next role at Fayt? And what's crazy is I know that role doesn't exist yet.
Oh my gosh, I know, because I'm already really happy.
You're just getting started, Grace. And I think that's one of the most exciting things.
Yeah, I never in a million years ever thought that I would be here on a podcast talking to you. And my role was national retail manager, and I do the things that I do now. I'm very blessed to be able to travel. That's amazing. That's already, I guess, my dream job is traveling and being able to meet a lot of people. A lot of different personalities. It's so good for you to get out there and meet different people in a role and hear everyone's experiences in other jobs and things like that. And that's how you become a manager that you want to be for them. So I'm already really loving it. I have a lot of really great one-on-one times I have a lot of personal times with everyone. Very grateful for that. And I'm able to talk to them every day and travel. So, yeah, I guess if it takes me any further, I'd love that. But right now I'm very content.
Oh, you're going further, Grace. I'm fucking pushing you there. I'm booting you out the door into the next thing. We're doing literally your review later this Savo, so we can talk more about your future this afternoon. Well, thank you so much for coming on, Grace. This has been great, and you were great. I don't know why you were so nervous.
I was nervous at the start. I think then I got into it.
I feel like stepping into a studio is always nerve-wracking. Yeah. We walked in and Grace goes, it sounds weird in here, like because there's all like the soundproofing. She's not used to it. To wrap up every big business episode, I always end with a tip of the week. I feel like you've already given so many tips throughout this whole episode. But if you have a tip or a life hack for all of our listeners, whether it's like a work life hack, management, or even like a personal life hack or tip, do you have anything that you can share?
So I would say not to dwell on the little things and always look at the bigger picture, because there always is a bigger picture. And don't put yourself down because of it, because that will just make you go backwards. Don't spend time outside of work focusing on things that aren't that big of a deal or that you can fix.
Yep.
I guess that's the biggest one, that are fixable, and don't let it affect the way you live your life. There's a bigger picture.
I love that. Well, thank you so much, Grace, for coming on Big Business.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
How do you feel after it now?
I feel very relieved. I'm a little bit nervous still to see how it turns out, but hopefully.
It's going to be great.
Yes.
And
thank you so much for asking me too.
Of
you
course.
Just asked me last week, Grace, do you want to come on the podcast? I thought, me? What have I got to say? But thank you so much.
It's been amazing to have you on the pod and to watch you grow over the years. And I know you're so happy with where you're at now in Fayt, but I'm honestly so looking forward to seeing where the next few years is going to take you, even though you're like, no, I'm just happy where I am.
Well, I've never actually been really content in life before. So right now I'm really just loving it. I just go to my work, I go to my everyday job, and I get to see my friends and
have a good time.
Yeah, and there's hard days, don't get me wrong. There's always hard days, but that's what I mean about not focusing on the small things, and there's always a bigger picture, which is your actual life.
Exactly right.
So
we all have a life outside of work. Thanks for listening. I hope you enjoyed hearing Grace on Big Business. Feel free to follow us on Instagram. Send us a message. Let us know what you thought of the episode, bigbusiness_podcast on Insta. And what do I even say at the end of these episodes these days, Xander? Oh, remember to chase. Yeah. And as always, remember to chase after your dreams as if they owe you money.